What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the CrownHoops Podcast. We are on to episode number 51 now, on from episode 50. We will be announcing the winners of our contest from the last episode at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that. But as always, I'm Jordan Daly. With me this week, we have Mike White and Ben Okazawa, and a special guest. We have Boston College legend, 6-year NBA vet, a few years overseas, played in the Big Three, Craig Smith.
Hey guys, what's up, guys? What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Hey. What's going on, big dog?
Glad
to have you.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. As we do with all of our guests, quick little icebreaker for people out there. We're going to ask you what your favorite team is, your favorite player, and we're asking for current and all-time, and then your favorite NBA moment that you've witnessed. So not necessarily something that you were involved with, or it can be, but just kind of your favorite NBA moment and all-time.
Favorite NBA moment of all time? Man, it's so many memories, but I guess for me, it would have to be coming home and playing the first game against the Lakers. I know he wasn't victorious, but I think just coming home and playing in front of the Staples Center for me was something big, you know, being able to see my family and friends. As you know, I was in Boston for 4 straight years and then got traded to Minnesota. So I was basically away from home for about 5 years. So to be able to come back, play in front of the Staples, in front of my family and friends, I think that was something that was real big, and especially just to get to play against Kobe.
Yeah, what was that like? That must have been insane. I mean, it's a very short list of people that can say they got to play against Kobe. So that must be something you hold pretty dear to your heart, right?
Definitely. I mean, he was the ultimate competitor. Brought out my best game every time I played against him, but I just knew he was just that fierce competitor. And me being in the league and being a competitor also, I just always like playing against him because it's just like, you're going to get his best every time. His will, even if he's not shooting good, he's going to be playing tough defense, and his energy is going to be on point. And I think that's one of the biggest things, because a lot of people, get into not making a lot of shots or anything like that. Sometimes they don't put the energy on the defensive end to try to make up for it. And sometimes within Kobe, his energy was just always around. Whether if he knew he wasn't scoring, he was going to be rebounding, playing defense, making plays, etc.
Did you ever trash talk with him?
We had some trash talking in the Drew League, actually. He actually picked me to be on his team of Drew League All-Stars, and he comes up to me, he's like, man, every time we play you be kicking LO's butt. And, we're chuckling back and forth, and I'm just like, yeah, Cole, but you can see that every day if you want to.
That's awesome.
So.
Going back, who is your favorite team? Like, is the Clippers your favorite team? Just because, obviously they're your hometown team. You play for them. Lakers are also technically that hometown team. Or do you root for Boston because you played there for so long?
I don't know.
Really
why
have
a Boston.
Yeah, I'm not a. I guess I'm not a fan as far as teams. I'm more a fan of players.
Okay.
That's just kind of how I grew up. That's just the way like I do things. So I don't really have a favorite as far as LA or Clippers. Like, I've always watched both teams. I'm not a one to, I guess, choose a side, because it's just like, for me, like, for what I play basketball, I love basketball players. It doesn't mean anything to me about teams. Yes, there's winners and losers, but I mean, that's it in every sport. But at the same time, I don't pick. That's just me. You can ask my friends too; they give me crap about it. Like, man, you don't never pick. But I guess the only way I pick is football. Let's just be honest.
Okay. And I know the answer to this. I just want you to say it. Who's your favorite team?
My favorite player is Tom Brady.
Oh my God! Here we go.
It is. It's the truth. I got a really good story. I was a 17-year-old kid where I went into Worcester Academy. I turned on the tube one day. LA, we've never had loyalty. That's how I presented as far as football goes. We never really had loyalty. It's always in and out like the burger, right? So I turned on the tube one day. This guy named Drew Bledsoe gets cracked. I'm like, jeez, right? And then I get on and it's like, yeah, they got this 6th-round kid that they're kind of big about, Tom Brady. I'm saying, what, the last pick in the draft? Oh, I like this. I've been an underdog my whole life. This is something comparable. I can relate to this. Comes out, wins the game. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start watching this guy. I didn't know he was going to win the Super Bowl after that, but that's just how it started for me.
That's awesome. What about basketball? Who are kind of some of your favorite basketball players, whether current, all-time?
Current, all-time, I mean, let's go with Magic, the Magic Man first. Magic Johnson, I really like him as a player. I'm a fan of Lloyd Vaught. I took a lot from Rodney Rogers. My big bro, Cedric Sabalas. That's why I feel like I'm tenacious on the offensive glass. Come on, man. Kobe. Let's go with some other ones. I like Danny Manning. I thought Danny Manning had cold game. The list goes on. I love Brent Berry's confidence in his free throw game. I love Isaiah Ryder when he first came out in the first 2 years with the T-Wolves.
Nasty.
KG will always, KG will always be an all-time for me just because I played with him, and not only that, growing up and watch him play, and then knowing that's how he really is. It was, you know what I'm saying? So, big bro Paul Pierce, some of his game. Did I say Charles Barkley already?
No, not yet.
Nah.
Barkley, come on, man. I mean, the list goes on, dude. And don't get me wrong, let's WNBA, Cheryl Miller, beast. Okay? You know? So, just a few. Shout out Lisa Leslie, you know.
Yeah, I remember on your Instagram.
Skylar Diggins. I'm a fan of Skylar Diggins, too.
A few months ago on your Instagram, you posted a picture, like a throwback picture. I think it was like a throwback from the Olympics with a couple of WNBA players.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I had what was cool was my junior year going to my senior year, we had what games was that? It was like it was in Izmir, Turkey. I think it was the World University Games. And yeah, Cappy Pondexter, Sylvia Fowles, of course Simone. Who am I forget? It was a ton of ladies on that team who were all pros, and I think a lot of them, maybe like 7 or 8, are still playing today.
That's awesome.
So that was an incredible experience.
Yeah, let me just jump in real quick and ask you, because you mentioned KG. I know you played with him for a little while. Grew up watching him. People have been coming out lately and kind of saying that he's not what he appears to be. He's all bark, no bite. People have been calling him soft, basically. Set the record straight as his teammate and as someone who's played with and against him. What did you see from KG? Like, is that all talk, or are they kind of talking out the butt?
So I guess when I'm talking about the tenaciousness, I'm so hungry for this win. I don't think it necessarily has to do anything with like fighting or how manly you are. So my thing is, as far as energy, as far as getting us together and preparing us, I felt like KG always did a great job establishing the great energy to fuel us to make sure we come out and we have great games as well. I felt like all our practices were really good because we had a guy like him who was a teacher within itself. And when you have a guy like that which when I was drafted was already calling him a Hall of Famer just because of his mind and what he brings to the game. And in that year, he taught me a lot about the game. And I think that's what's most important. All that trash talk and stuff is whatever, because not a lot of people be fighting anyway. Let's keep it 100. Don't nobody like to lose their money. We always say like, hey, meet us in the back or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But on the court, like, it's whatever. You can smell softness or whatever, but at the end of the day, ain't nobody gonna really do nothing unless they, want to take it out after that. And the probability of that happening between basketball players, who really wants to get in trouble or get known like, hey, I was out here doing that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you got a big bag and you want to waste it.
Hey, look, I would never. If I made an NBA, I'm not fighting you, bro. We can go at it all night. I'm not wasting a penny. Don't even worry about that. You got it. You could be the tough guys.
Right now, back in the day, it was a little bit easier. I only get $100 just to smack somebody. Like, okay, You know what I'm saying?
Let's do
Based on your salary, of course you can smack somebody for 50 or 100. But that joint add up, you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000. You know what I'm saying?
50K. They throwing 50K at people now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy watching those, man. Like the Daryl Dawkins or like even Kareem when he got elbowed in the gut and he came back and knocked the guy on his ass.
Oh, when Rudy T, man, like, yo, that was crazy.
Crazy.
And I got
Barbaric.
a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. You said you played with KG. You talked about his leadership. Outside of KG, who are some of your favorite, best leaders you ever seen in the NBA or in basketball in general?
Just in basketball in general, I won't even say like in team, but in general, I like Chris Paul. I like his leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's a floor general.
Definitely.
I like his leadership a lot. I like Kawhi's quiet leadership sometimes. Yes, you have to be vocal, but sometimes you got to let your work do the talking. You feel me? In majority of his years, he let the work do the talking. And I feel like only now he has to come in and be verbal, but I like that type of leadership as well. Another guy, I mean, I've been on great teams, great guys. Troy Hudson was a good leader for us.
Okay.
Good vocal leader. Ricky Davis. I got to shout out Ricky Davis. My guy, Boom Dizzle, Baron Davis, of course. I mean, I can't forget about that. Jamal Crawford. Played with Jamal. Jamal is very knowledgeable of the game and a great voice in the locker room. Great guy. So I guess those will be some of my guys.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah.
All right, let's get into
Jordan.
it with some more questions focused towards kind of your career. So obviously you played 6 years in the NBA. Right after that, you decided to go play in, so I want to say Jerusalem, but I've watched some of your past interviews, and I know that's not how it's pronounced, right?
Yeah, it's Jerusalem.
Okay, so you played in Jerusalem. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, they normally it's pronouncing a J with like a Y. Like that's the pronunciation.
Okay. Okay. So
Jerusha.
you played there after your 1 year stint with Portland.
Yep.
So kind of what made you shift your career to what made you want to like go overseas, and what was that kind of transition for you from going to like, you know, the top league in the world in the NBA, and then all of a sudden, you know, going overseas and playing something that's probably a lot different than most people here will never experience. What was that kind of like for you?
Yeah, it was a culture shock for me. I didn't really understand why I didn't really have a lot of offers in the NBA. Didn't really understand that at that time. Didn't understand the reasoning, but understood though because we just came out of a lockout that this, you know, going overseas thing might be a good situation. And it was all in a learning experience. I was tired of like getting excuses that, you know, I love the way, you know, the coaches, I love the way you're playing. I love the way you're doing things. I can't get you out there on the floor. Sick and tired of those excuses. I'm really good at what I do, and I deserve my opportunity to play. So it's like, you know what? Let me just go over here and see how that is. And boy, was it a total experience. Because you mean coming from the NBA is like, you know, coming from like, what's the lady's name in Casablanca? What's her name? The white diamond lady? I keep forgetting.
I know you're talking about. I can't remember her name.
Big time, right? Okay. Elizabeth Taylor. There we go.
Okay.
Imagine coming from Elizabeth Taylor's house. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I got to go down into an area that I don't know at all. That I go from Elizabeth Taylor's house to a rival hood. That's how I'm going to compare it. Because it's just like, well, where am I? But then it gets weird because it's like, you know, there's actual goats in the road. Like, what is going on here? And don't get me wrong, Israel's a very, very beautiful place. I tell people all the time, you should go. You should have an experience in Israel. I'm driving on the one road. The one road goes from the airport to Jerusalem. So it's really like two roads. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you get in and you're trying to go from California to Vegas, and then it gets like literally two roads, one going this way and one going that way. Basically, one going north, one going south, right? So it's so much desert, and I'm like, yo, I don't know how long I can hold, because I need to go to the bathroom. Like, how long is this ride? And they're like, well, we're going to have to pull you over. So first I had to pull over in just in the middle of nowhere in a dirt rocky road and just let it out, you know, and being paranoid. I'm like, yo, is somebody going to jump out? You know, like, you know, you think of things in the Middle East, it's like, yo, but we finally get there. It's a beautiful windy road. It's really green. The mountains really hilly and green. And I was like, man, I just felt all this energy here. And having the opportunity of, like, when I got to my place was basically on the top of a hill, and I could see the whole city of Jerusalem. I really thought that was a dope experience. Having great teammates, not only great teammates, but just I can be walking anywhere in that city, and they will come and show me the ultimate love. Now, me being a black man in America, that doesn't go that way all the time.
Right.
And that's a big experience for me, you know? We appreciate you, brother. We love you, you know? Treat me like a king. So, I love it. And I really did some really cool things. I went on went to the Western Wall. I put a prayer in the wall. I went to the Dead Sea. I purified myself. And people don't understand this. Like the Dead Sea is real healing in that. So I had, like, you know, in basketball, you get scratches on your, you know, your hand or your wrist or whatever, right? So I walk in, and as soon as I walk in the water, my arm is sizzling. Like I just put some hot ramen in the, you know what I'm saying, in the boiling water. But when I come out, I have a scab on it already, and it's a fresh cut.
Wow.
All that salt in there.
All the salt. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, it's a really, really beautiful experience. I hope one day to have a home near Tel Aviv, but
okay.
I definitely love Israel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to ask just about the basketball aspect, going from the NBA to, let me make sure I say it right, Jerusalem. That's how you say it, right? Jerusalem. There you go. So just looking at the basketball aspect, going from there to there, I know the NBA was obviously tougher, but as a player who's came over there, you was probably putting in work. How do you stay, level-headed, grounded? Like, yo, I need to continue to grind, even though the competition may not be where it was in the NBA. How do you keep that focus going on?
Yeah, so what was crazy was I did feel that way, but then at the same time, there's these refs in the game that sometimes they don't agree with you in your style. And for me, it was a little bit frustrating because it's just like, I'm over here getting beat up. I barely touched somebody. You want to foul? You want to put a foul on me? You know what I'm saying? So that was really difficult. But I made adjustments, like any good player does when he watches film. I studied kind of the rules and had a better understanding of it. But then what I also did was, I know I was in another country, and I knew most Americans aren't trying to understand the culture, especially like I'm trying to understand it. So you know what? When we got some of these plays, we're going to call them in Hebrew. By time the American know what the play is from his Israeli teammate, I got a bucket already.
It's too late.
Let's change the game now. Let's start calling it out in your language, and let's throw the Americans off, because I'm going to understand that.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So that went really well. But then there was some unfortunate situations, and I didn't like that. And that was one of the reasons that I got up out of there. Jacob Pullen, they had cut him for no apparent reason. And I was mad about that. And I voiced my opinion in the paper. And the coach wanted to cut me after that for voicing my opinion. And then said really negative stuff, which I didn't really care, because it was just like, let me be the sacrifice. Because for one, at the time, they didn't have ownership. The real owner was lost, literally. Like he disappeared from his boat and went on his boat.
Oh, he was lost.
Wow. He was lost. Oh, you lost.
Like you nowhere to be found. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, no position in the power really. And it was one GM that was there that already he retired. He said, I don't want to do it no more, like midway. So then, like, dealing with that and, like, uncertainty of things. And then, I don't know what you guys are doing. And this is much different over here, but I do like it. So that was my sacrifice. But I got to come back a second time and really do something special with a great team, too.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, I mean, I feel like this is every kid's dream. Mike, Jordan, I'm sure you guys have pictured yourselves on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But Craig actually got there when he was with Boston College in the NCAA tournament there. What did that feel like when you found out you were going to be a Sports Illustrated cover athlete? And then when you actually see it, what's that emotional?
So I didn't even know at first. Like, they surprised me and everything. So we're heading to go to Minnesota, I believe. And I'm walking to the part of the Clearport, because then we started going private, so it was a little bit different. We wasn't taking charter planes anymore. We were going private. So I get up and I look at my roommate that I went to school with. Not only was he how do I say that? Not ball boy, but my guy was a manager. Sorry,
Okay.
my guy was a manager. And he has this weird look. And I'm like, what are you looking at, dude? Like, it's a weird-ass look. What are you looking at? And he just hands it to me. And then it just felt like somebody was singing from the heavens. Oh, to be for she. Right? And then I see it. I'm like, oh, this is tight. Oh, like, this is hard. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go get this win. Let's go get this win now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
on the
so
cover. Let's
amped.
do it.
Let's do it. And I feel like, being a young guy back then too, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be police ladies. It's gonna be all type of ladies. I need it.
How many copies of that cover did you buy?
Yo, my mom has like 90. I swear.
Oh my
But I find them every once in a while too. Like, I find like this one is like cut up, open, but it's still there, and I'm like, I don't even know how this survived. Obviously, it's one behind me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, my mom got a gang of stuff.
That's
She
awesome.
just be holding it.
That's so cool.
Hey man, you part of history, man. Part of history. You already know how my dude's gonna do that. You part of history.
You
man.
already know. That's why I need the tacos for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Craig, we have a big Lakers fan in here with Mike. So I know he's been dying to ask you a question about one of your former teammates.
Yep.
Hey, so look, man. A lot of NBA Twitter these days, they be giving my boy Dudley a lot of flack right now. They be giving my boy, they even want him on the roster. And I'm just like, y'all really don't understand the IQ, how long this man been. Y'all ain't never seen.
Nah, you need to say that again. No, I'm gonna have you say that. Say it again. Say it
Y'all don't
again.
understand the IQ this man has for the game. Why you think he got a spot and he barely playing? So please, can you please show some love to Jared Dudley, ACC Player of the Year, praise to the back like Omarion. Please show my man some love, man, because NBA teams just don't know.
I love Daz, man. Daz is my brother, man. You feel me? And it's just like this. Those people that are talking, they just don't understand how it works. And Dudley's been a great asset to this Laker team. I don't know if you win if you don't have this guy, because this guy's over here having film sessions with LeBron after every game. Not only that, it's just his built of his work. First of all, when I was in there, I had Troy Bell, right, and Troy Bell left. I didn't know what was going to go on, who was going to be my partner in crime, and he comes out of nowhere. And this is the crazy thing. I seen him at ABCD camp because I was a coach, right? I see him on the team with Dwight Howard, and I'm like, damn, who is this guy? He's nice. And next thing you know, he's on our campus in August.
Walking in.
And then, finding out Duz is from Cali too, like me, you feel me? Like, it all It just all panned out. You feel me? And I'm so happy for my brother. You feel me? Because he deserves it. Man works really, really hard. He's very, very smart when it comes to this game, and a lot of people don't understand that because it's just like, hey, when we're on social media, all we do is critique people. So why not? You feel me? When we don't know what it takes to really be in that position at all we can do is heckle.
Right.
All right, we had a few questions sent in from our listeners, so we're going to kind of go rapid fire here with those. I'll start off with one. Someone sent in a question asking what your favorite memory of your pro career is. So we'll make that an open question. You can make it college, NBA, Big Three, whatever. Just kind of your favorite moment or a couple if you can't narrow it down.
Oh my God, one of my favorite moments was actually my second NBA game. We're on a back-to-back. We just won at home against Sacramento, and we're going against to play the Denver Nuggets, and I have 20 points in 16 minutes.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
My second NBA game.
That must felt nice.
It was a great feeling. Then I got like this $50 card after. Like I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Where we go to this next city? I'm about to get some free eats. $50. It's a lot of food.
I got one for you. So you can only pick one from each. Only one. Your favorite team.
Man.
Yeah, only one. I know somebody gonna call you and hate you after this, but it's okay.
All right.
I need you to pick one favorite teammate from college and your one favorite teammate from the NBA. Just one.
All right, one in college is gonna be easy. My roommate for 4 years, Lewis Hennett. I gotta give it to him. That was my roommate for 4 years, and that's tough to have a roommate all 4 years. If everybody know how college work, 4 years with the same roommate, but that's my bro. So I would definitely say him. Great teammate. I'm gonna be honest. I always loved DeAndre Jordan's character. He was a very funny guy. He was a great guy. He's a good guy to be around. He's young, but he's very smart. But he was so funny to me.
Okay.
I like that.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you this one. First NBA game. I mean, obviously, must have been a lot of nerves. I hear that it's always butterflies in your stomach going into that first game. Step onto the court. What's going on in your head?
So yeah, normally you get like, I'm gonna be honest, I did get butterflies, but like once I stepped on the floor, it was almost like turning into T-1000 or like the term, like it's war. It's war. Trying to take your head off. Trying to get these buckets, get these boards, trying to get extra minutes. Cause I know I'm gonna come in, y'all want to give me 20, but if I play good, you might give me 25 to 30.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, man. You know, so I don't want to step on nobody's toes. Give me a little F5. I did 30 minutes. I'm double easy with cheese.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I got another one for you. Yo, yeah, my bad. You want to go? You want to get that?
No,
next
all you.
one? Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. I want to hear this. Hardest player to guard or go against. Who is the hardest guy? In fact, give me the hardest guy, and then give me a guy that people might not know about who was also equally as hard.
Yo, so people that didn't know, Radmanovic. Yo, he was quicker than I thought on the perimeter. He got me a couple times, you feel me? So that was difficult. And I mean, Tim Duncan.
Yeah, that has to be.
Tim Duncan. And the guy's so smart. Hey, Craig, what's up? How's Minnesota going? It's cool. It's not like Los Angeles, but I'm like, this dude knows everything about me. This is crazy. Like, you know,
Is that like intimidation though?
Nah, I mean, it wasn't intimidating me, but for me, I thought it was cool that you knew stuff about me. That means I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? If you know something about me, I'm doing something right.
That's awesome.
So then, you know, so if like, and he follows me, so it goes like that. It goes from me in Minnesota, now I'm in LA, and he's like, "How's home?" I'm like, "Oh, Tim, you're out here. Stop trying to knock me off my game right now."
That's awesome.
But it's pretty cool.
That's a strong TD impersonation. I feel like he always sounds like a little bit weird like that. I don't know.
Yeah, like he just come in, I'm about to windmill this dunk right now. What?
As he drop a calm 30 and 20.
Right?
Okay.
Calm
30 and 20.
He'd be like, bank. I hate it. Stop talking. It's too simple.
Kind of speaking about Tim Duncan and, a few other big NBA names, what was it kind of like to, play against or play with, some of those big name players that you looked up to or you watched growing up? Was there ever like a fanboy moment or like, oh my God, I'm going against, some of the greatest people to ever play the game? Or was it like all game for you?
I was a little bit of both, man. I was excited, obviously, to be around these Hall of Famers, you know what I'm saying, and to have these type of experiences. But I knew if I needed to get respect or them to dab me up and not look at me like no buster, I better go out here and put this work in. So for me, it was just all about putting work. And, I mean, just even having the moment of Magic Johnson telling me, welcome home, like, I'm doing something right. Doing something right. So, like being in it. So when we were in Minnesota, I think this is the closest I got to Jordan. You feel me? Jordan like comes down these baggy pants, he got the 90s baggy pants on, and he just comes down and he's sitting, he's talking to Mikhail. And I'm just like in awe, like, dang, himself. I feel it. It's over there, but I feel it. You feel me?
His airness.
Exactly. So it's just cool. And I mean, being young, like I've seen Danny Ainge a few times, Danny Ainge been at our games. Bill Belichick's been at our games. It's, so, and then I just seen this too when I played against Kobe. I think it was my first time. Mark Wahlberg was at the game. So I don't feel like to be a crazy coincidence, you feel me, being at these Boston ties. So
everything's telling you to just come back to Boston.
No. That's crazy.
To the bean. It's too cold though, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm a spoiled LA guy. You feel me?
It is very.
If it's below 45, count me out. Count me out. Coach Skinner count me out too. He's like, there's one time I literally like. It was freezing out there, and all I heard on the old school tube TV was blizzard. I touched the window. I'm like, nah, I'm not going nowhere. Coach Skinner's like, hey, you should miss class. I said, look, check this out. You knew what you was getting into. You knew I was a Cali kid. What the fuck is this outside? Oh, excuse me. What is this outside? What is this outside? What is this? This is like just feet of snow. Bro, I never seen this in my life. He's just laughing on the phone. And then I have 5 a.m. sprints the next day.
Hell no.
Yeah.
It's 28 degrees here. So if you ever...
I bought me some Timbs then.
Yes, sir. Them butters. Had to get them butters.
For real. Hey, all colors. Had the black ones, the weed regular ones. I think I even got the platinum ones too, because I had to go with the Fat Albert Fubu.
You get the beef and broccoli?
Platinum.
Nah, I didn't do the beef and broccoli. I think Jermaine did the beef. Jermaine, because Jermaine had every Timberland. Jermaine Watson, my old teammate, was from Boston.
Okay.
He had every Tim.
Beef and broccoli, the butters, all black. I need it.
I like the butters, but I feel like for my fit, it looks too big, bro. The blue, yeah, it looks huge. Look like I got two foam rollers on there. 16.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, nah.
You gotta get shoes like custom ordered. I feel like most places I don't even see like size 16 shoes.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends. But a lot of Nike shoes, like, hey Nike, this is a real shout out from the Rhino. I appreciate it, but I would love to get in some Air Max one day. I've never had a pair of Air Max in my life. I've had a Presto back in the day, but not now. Mm-hmm. I would love to get in a Presto today, or the only thing I can get is Jordans and Kobe's.
Yeah,
I want some lighter shoes to walk around in versus my slippers. Please help me, Nike. Please.
Oh man, Mike, I think you got the next question.
All right, so let's talk about this year. Let's talk this NBA season. Okay. What are some of your thoughts on this year so far? Who is your favorite to win the championship, and who's the sleeper team that you like out there, or a few of them?
All right. So this NBA season, I'm just seeing how KD and Kyrie are. I see they're going through a little bit of turmoil right now. I do feel like the championship, it could be going through LA, and I might be modest, but I know it's because of last year, but it can go either way. I have a feeling about that just because of what happened and how it happened last year. But at the same time, my sleeper, my sleeper's always P-Town because I love Damian Lillard. And it's just like, now you got Canner back. They got some good additions. Melo's still out there. So I really like them. And the champions definitely coming out of the West. Always have, always will.
Sleeping
Until
on the
you
Celtics,
have,
man.
I love them.
Sleeping on them.
How many games is Kemba going to play this year?
Great question.
Doesn't matter. Peyton Pritchard is looking.
Team chemistry is big, and that's why when he came in last, like even you can see it in the bubble, he missed some games, right? And then when they got to play that Heat, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to talk about
so
that
even though he can be playing not as well right now, but he needs to be out there. They need to feel that because it ain't come playoffs. They gonna strap up on Tate, and I love Jayson. Jason's a real talent. He will be MVP one day to me for sure. But he's young, and that play. You know how that playoff beast is because you can see it from Giannis. Like, hey, Giannis, I'm gonna need you to start shooting outside a little bit more because once the playoffs come, they gonna strap that up. They gonna strap. You ain't gonna be taking off one dribble from half court because everybody gonna be there already.
I would have loved to see you on Giannis. That would have been insane.
Oh yeah.
Do your little rhino back down.
Yeah, because I feel like you're not just gonna punk me in the basket thinking you got all these nice little deltoids. Like, look at these little deltoids. They look nice.
That's what I'm saying.
What's funny is I could have been there too. The opportunity to be drafted at 39 during my draft by the Bucks, that was a big chance. I really could have went there.
Wow.
Because that was their only pick. And I felt like I've been there like 2-3 times because of the NCAA tournament. Like I beat Bogut out there. Okay. And that's why I was like, how am I getting disrespected? Like this the number one pick. I went to work. Much respect. I think he's a great guy. He's a champion.
Yeah.
But give me my respect too. Yeah.
I
put in work. So, but yeah, that almost happened. That was
cool.
Yeah, and hey, speaking of just disrespect, I feel like you weren't as highly touted coming into the Big Three as other guys. How did that whole league kind of become part of your story, and talk about what it means to you?
For me, it just felt like I was watching something I was familiar with. To be honest, yeah. Everybody's gonna doubt. This is the same story for me. Like, oh, this is an easy one. All you guys are gonna doubt me. Oh, you think boy, I can't wait. So I'm just sitting there literally waiting. And not only that, it goes in the beginning because like I wasn't even starting. Gil wasn't showing up for the first game. So Frank was going to start with Royce and Perry, right? And then Lamar taps Frank on the shoulder and says, hey, I think I should start with Perry and Royce. And Frank's like, all right. And I'm like, I know I'm going to have to come in the first 10 minutes. Something's going to all right, something with the energy here. I know I'm going to have to come in and do what I have to do. And that's exactly what happened. Royce got into a fight the first 3 minutes. Eller got subbed out the next 2 minutes. And me and Frank got put right in. I'm like, hey, but I already had played with Perry. So Perry knew what I was working with. Perry looks me in the eyes and says, I know who you are. I need you right now.
Go to work. Go to work.
Yeah, kind of
like little bro.
Yeah.
Little bro, I got you.
Yeah.
And I come out, I have 26.
Easy,
I have 26. Yeah. But at first I was mad because I was like, my first 3-point shot I missed and I was hot. I said, I'm not missing no more. So we offensive rebound, bam, I hit it. They get the ball. So they get the ball, they miss. I come out of a pick and roll because Frank knows my game too. Frank says, a screen for me. I'm going to come up, I'm going to pull 2 in a row. Now, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. Now you know you got to come out here and guard this. Now the game plan changes for me. Now the pump fake works. You know what I'm saying? Now I got a more of a repertoire. See, people don't even understand that, how to add that to your game. Like, okay, yeah, I'm a three-point shooter. If they know I'm a shoot, what do I need to do differently now? And now it's like, oh, I can set them up, pump fake, take a step back dribble, or I need to work on my floater or layup game because I'm going to have a wide open layup or a floater over a big. And these are some things I got to get used to. Yeah. So for me, it was cool because it's like, oh, yeah, I'm bringing out the big guard.
Yeah, that stretch five, or I guess in the big three, it's a stretch three mentality.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it's kind of like that second game in Minnesota. You just got to prove it. You just need that opportunity.
Yeah, just need the opportunity, and I'm a gamer. I'm going to go out and do it, you know? That's one thing about me that I do know. I'm a gamer. Like, I can be sitting here right now. Somebody go ask me to play, I could put up 40.
Oh, really?
Remind me that.
You ain't going to think I'm going to be able to do it, and that's what I like about it, because you're just giving me more energy to prove you wrong.
If we're ever playing, I call being on your team, though. That's all I'm saying. I don't Nope. I remember back when I was in middle school, Rasheed Wallace was actually my coach for a year or two.
Wow.
Both of his sons were on my team. They had just moved to the North Shore area, I think.
Okay.
And I remember him coming in, and our coach was like, yeah, this is Rasheed. He's going to be coaching with you guys from now on. And, like, I was, like, so young. I didn't even realize, like, who was standing in front of me. And I just remember seeing my dad, like, sneakily, like, taking pictures on the bench. Like, oh, my God. This is.
Trying to get that flick.
And, like,
yeah,
definitely. He would just, like, dunk in practice and, like, shoot half-court shots with ease. And I think it just shows, like, how incredibly talented NBA players are. And I think people just overlook, like, the amount of skill it takes to even play in the NBA alone.
Yeah.
Like, it's
and then the mental capacity to be crazy about it. You feel me? A little bit insane about it because you have to. Like, you feel me? Who's really going to believe other than me of myself being able to make it to the league? You feel me? So it's far out there, but it is what it is because that energy, you back it up, you know?
Yeah, you got to believe in yourself. Like, I coach now, and I tell the kids, look, a lot of people going to tell you you're not going to make the NBA, but guess what? Everybody in the NBA heard that same line as they was preparing, trying to make it to this. So it can be done, but you got to obsess over it. It's got to be, even when you get there and you get the money. I know we see some guys now, they kind of get the money and, you know, their game kind of falls by the wayside. They kind of chill. You got to still have that passion, that drive, that
love. Yeah, I need to do it every day of my life, or my life won't be what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, it won't make me happy. Like, this brings me happiness. You know what I'm saying? It's happiness. It's therapy. It's, you know, I've been loving this game since I was a kid. Like, I don't know what, you know.
It's Mamba mentality. Look, it's on the wall. I be trying to tell the kids that's it.
Yep.
Craig, how old were you when you realized, like, okay, I have a shot here?
I mean, I wrote a story about it in a paper, and I couldn't have been no more than 8 years old.
Wow, that's awesome.
Manifest.
The manifest was real. And it was just like, there was not, like, I was telling myself in stories I was giving to my teachers. And my teachers would be like, oh, that's great. But what, you know what I'm saying? Like, wishful thinking. Have an A, B, C, D. Yes, you should have an A, B, C, D, but at the same time, when you truly love something, you give it your all.
Yeah.
You do whatever it takes. Because that's what it's about. You know?
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a test of faith, too. How much do you love it?
Yeah. Moving on from basketball, though, obviously you're not just a basketball player. You're up to a lot of things now. You're on Instagram, YouTube, new to TikTok as well. And you're also an ambassador for the Clippers. You want to talk about a little bit of, like, what it's like to be an ambassador for the Clippers and then starting to become
it's just
a media influencer as well?
Yeah, it's pretty cool just to be someone who can inspire a young generation. So, you know, we have a mentorship program. I mean, obviously it's a little bit different now, but back then we were able to go outside. You know, I was able to really talk to the kids and, explain to them certain things and tell them through my story, how to never give up, how to go out and achieve, how to always believe in yourself, even when other people doubt you. So that was really good for me because I feel like I do want to be that to the young generation. I do want them to see my face and know, yes, I am real. And yes, you can do these things too. So it's just really cool doing that. And I mean, recently we just did a dinner with Harold and Bales. It's a famous Cajun restaurant from LA, third generation, I believe, of owners as well. So that was really cool. So it's a great experience, and being home and being to do something and still have a great relationship with the team that I once played for is really, really cool. The social media stuff, man, it's new to me, but people have always told me like, hey, this could be a good situation for me. I mean, yeah, for me, if, you just go out there and show yourself, show your personality and stuff like that. So, it's been going well. It's a learning experience, but I am enjoying it. There's been some cool videos that I've been doing, so it's really cool. And just trying to finish the rest of my children's book that I had recently written another one in July, I believe. So I'm just really trying to figure that part out. And this is all new to me, of course, because basketball's been my whole life. But at the same time, I've always knew that there was going to be different things that I would like, just like basketball. And I'm starting to find those things, and it's going well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and telling us kind of your story, walking through some good memories you had and kind of what's to come for Craig Smith, I guess. We appreciate you for coming on. For those of you guys listening, watching, I will make sure to plug all of Craig's social medias down below, links to his YouTube, things like that, so you can go check him out. He's also very active on TikTok, so if you go and comment on his TikToks, he will answer.
I will.
Awesome. Thanks again, Craig. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys, man. Best of luck.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks for coming, man.
All right. Special thanks again to Craig for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it. But we're going to move on with the rest of the podcast. But before we do, we have to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped. For those of you who don't know us, last episode we announced it. They sponsored our podcast, so you can now go and get 20% off all Manscaped products using our code CrownHoops. They actually sent us each a bunch of free products to try out and use. Mike's repping that T-shirt over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last episode, I think we started the ad read. We were saying, Mike, how excited were you? And Mike was saying he was real excited. So, Mike, I got to point it back to you.
Hey, let's do it. Hey, so look, I just want to let y'all know right here on this podcast, I'm officially manscaped up everywhere. Look, take that however you want. Look. You got it. It was the deodorant, all of that. I showered first, put the deodorant on. I felt real at home. I felt safe. I felt safe when I put it on, but I felt fresh. Then I hit the little toner with the spritz. Look, your balls can't smell like bounce that ass, all right? So make sure you're using the spritz. All of it was amazing. Thank you, Manscaped. Everything. Look, my wife loved it. I loved it. I was waiting. This is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for my package, and it was everything I thought it would be. So, hey, I'm with it. Manscape it up. Manscape
it is the gift that keeps on giving your balls.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Get that package. Just look at this. Look at how, I was just, blown away about how fancy this package was. It's
beautiful.
Nice and clean.
Yeah.
Opens up.
Very fancy.
Bang.
Your balls.
Well, thank you. Your
balls. There we go.
I was just like, wow, that's great packaging.
The gold print. Listen,
Yo.
if you're not scaping with Manscaped, just grow up.
Hey,
Go
man,
buy yourself a lawnmower 3.0.
Exactly. It's worth it. It is worth it.
Off.
Check the link in our description and make sure to use our promo code CrownHoops. Moving on, we will start us right off with the hot take segment. So, Ben, I will pass it over to you.
All right, yeah. So, hey, this could be construed sort of as a keyboard warrior, but I'm gonna just call it what it is. It's a hot take. Steve Nash was seen telling a ref during last week's Hawks-Nets game that Trae Young's play style is not basketball. He was, of course, referencing sort of the get ahead of your man off the screen, back up into him, pop a shot, ref calls a foul. Nash, obviously playing in like the early 2000s, was not a fan of this. Called it not basketball. Would you say, Mike, that that's like not basketball and not the way the game is supposed to be played?
Look, much respect to Steve Nash. He knows the game way more than I'll ever know it, but it's part of the game. I mean, James Harden gets fouls all types of ways. Shooters look for fouls all types of ways. If you're coming off a screen and you're sprinting after the man to get back into play and he stops and pulls up and you run into him, I mean, it's a foul at the end of the day. So in my opinion, the defender just has to be aware of that, or your coach needs to put you guys in better position to be able to guard that. I mean, I think it's a foul. If you run smack into a player, it's not his fault you ran into him because you're sprinting to catch up on defense. That's not the offensive player's responsibility. That's not his problem. All he knows is I'm going to score or dish the bucket. So to me, it's a foul. It may be a cheat foul. Like we said, we hate cheat fouls, but at the end of the day, if the ref blow that whistle and Trae Young going to the line for 2, you got to play with it, man. So it's a foul.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't blame him for being upset. I even just watching, I get kind of tired of that, but it is what it is. I mean, the rules are set up, physical contact, it's a foul. Jordan, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, if anything, it's smart basketball on Trae Young's part. If he knows he can get that call every time, why wouldn't you do it, right? You're either going to make that basket and go to the line and get an and one. You're going to be able to pass it out like Mike said, or you're going to be able to finish the layup strong. So, I mean, I think that's just more time needed in the film room for opposing teams to understand that, look, Trae Young's going to do this. You need to adapt and you need to adjust, either find a way to just not foul him. I don't know, but I don't think Steve Nash's comment is correct.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, much love to Steve Nash, just like Mike said, 2-time MVP. I know we all have our own thoughts about whether or not he deserved those. Greatest Canadian player ever to play the game. But I'll move on to the next hot take, and it comes from ESPN's very own Max Kellerman, who said Iguodala, Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth himself. Max Kellerman said that LeBron James needs a ring more than any other player in the league this season. Me personally, a few names come off the top of my head ahead of LeBron. But, Jordan, I'll ask you, do you think he's exaggerating a little bit, or does Bron need a ring more than anyone else?
I mean, I definitely think he's exaggerating. I mean, you guys know me. I never cut LeBron any slack. I'm very hard on him, you could say. But, I mean, he's proven everything he's needed to prove at this point. He doesn't need another ring by any means. I mean, what does one more ring for him do at this point? You know, the conversation of GOAT will never end. It's always going to be perspective and, they played in different time eras. Like, how can you go about that? Another ring is not going to do anything for LeBron, in my opinion. So I don't get what Kellerman said. LeBron's proved himself enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think? I mean, he's on your Lakers.
Hey, so look. So this season, right, just to make sure I'm clear about it, this season, as much as I like Max Kellerman, I'm going to have to disagree, and I'm going to throw a name you probably wouldn't even expect me to throw in here. Like, I don't even like mentioning this guy's name. But if we're just talking this season, let's talk about Paul George and the LA Clippers. Let's talk about how they went out. Let's talk about them losing, being up 3-1 to the Denver Nuggets. Paul George said this season, I'm back. We remember after game 1, they beat the Lakers. I'm back. I owe this city a championship. Paul George has already signed his extension. Kawhi Leonard has not. He can be a free agent after this year. So I'm going to put this on Paul George. I think Paul George needs a ring this season. I think the Clippers need to be in the finals this season. I think where Kawhi is going to go is going to be determined a lot off of this season. And because if Kawhi leaves, you're left with Paul George and a bunch of pieces at that. No disrespect to anybody on that team, but you don't lose Kawhi Leonard. At the end of the day, if you got Paul George, I don't care. You do not lose Kawhi Leonard. So I don't think LeBron needs a ring more than Paul George this season because he just got the hard one in LA. Like, we could say what we want about the competition or how easy, whatever you want to call it. He got the ring in LA that everybody said he needed to get when originally they said he was only here for movies. Paul George, it's time to put up or shut up, in my opinion. Playoff P, you gave yourself the name. You didn't show up on last year when, like Skip Bayless likes to say, the Clippers were the prohibited favorite entering in the playoffs to make it to the championship and win it. I think Paul George needs a ring this season to validate him in LA land.
Yeah. No, I mean, Paul George is one just off the top of my head, like guys like Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Carmelo Anthony, Damian Lillard are all guys that could benefit more from a championship win than LeBron James, who's already got 4. And to me, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't really matter because the Lakers are all but a lock to win this back-to-back championship this upcoming season. But, hey, listen, I had to show love. But
I like that. I like that energy.
Yeah, that was the last hot take. Mike, give me your keyboard warrior of the week.
All right, let's do keyboard warrior, man. Now, this could be, like, as usual, it could be keyboard warrior, a little bit of a hot take. Jordan, I want you to really listen up. So, this comes from the NBA Brotherhood, a group I'm part of on Facebook. This comes from a Mr. Isaac Gentry. This was 3 days ago. Not sure if it's true or not, but quite frankly, I don't care as of this moment. But Jaylen Brown could be better than Jayson Tatum. Either way, the last thing Boston needs to do is trade either of these studs. So this was obviously following the heels of, I think, Jaylen Brown dropped a 40-piece, something like that. So I'm going to ask you guys, is it possible that Jaylen Brown is better than Jayson Tatum? I'll start with you, Ben.
It's tough. I mean, I would say that, first of all, these guys have looked very equal to each other this season. Jayson Tatum just dropped a 40-piece against the Raptors tonight in a 12-point win, whatever, moving forward. Listen, Jayson Tatum has by far looked like the more elite, prodigious, just sort of natural talent so far in his NBA career. Drawn lots of comparisons to Kobe in terms of his play style. And he's got the size, length, all of that to compete at the highest level. And, I mean, I like Jaylen Brown a lot. He seems like a really smart, down-to-earth, and just humble guy. And, I mean, defensively, I would say he's got a bit of an edge on Jayson Tatum. Not that Tatum's a bad defender. But I think Tatum is younger. Tatum's quickly improving. And he's one day, very soon, going to be in that MVP conversation. Whereas I think Jaylen Brown, who will likely be an all-star at some point in his career, isn't quite at that elite number one option, guy who can just take over a game at any given moment sort of position quite yet.
Yeah, so the thing about that is, and I saw another tweet kind of on this from Kendrick Perkins. He even said that Jaylen Brown is the best two-way player in the game. So I'll shift it to you, Jordan, like this. Judging off Brown's defense, which I'm assuming we're all going to probably give him the edge on that, do you think Brown is better than Tatum, and do you think he's the best two-way player in the game or in that conversation?
Yeah, so this is a debate I know at least Celtics fans had when Tatum was first drafted, and throughout that rookie year was a debate, who's better, Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown? And that was a debate people constantly heard. After that year, it kind of shut down a little bit. It was clear that Tatum was the guy. This year, it's coming back after Jaylen Brown's honestly amazing debut the first few games that he's had. He's looked outstanding. I will say that I feel like Jaylen Brown is slept on as a player and doesn't get the national attention compared to Jayson Tatum. So I feel like, now everyone's talking about it, saying, oh, Jaylen Brown's kind of good. Is he better than Tatum? Just because he was just recently put into the national spotlight. But people that watch Celtics games every single game or, even once a week, they see that Jaylen Brown, this guy's always been here. He's just never got the real attention. And I said this going into this year that I expected Jaylen Brown to take a big jump this year now that Gordon Hayward is gone. I felt like Gordon Hayward took some of his touches, some of his minutes. We all know that Brad Stevens definitely favored Hayward. So I think this opens up a big role for Jaylen Brown. In your question of who I think is better, Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum, I think Tatum is definitely a more skilled player, but I think Jaylen Brown is a much higher IQ player. I think he's a lot smarter of a player. I think he can slow the game down in ways that Jayson Tatum still can't do yet. Every once in a while, I still see Tatum trying to make that hero move where I'll time after time see Jaylen Brown make that extra pass if need be. So that's why I think together they really, really work. In terms of, is he the best two-way player? I don't know if I'd say he's the best, but he's definitely in conversation for it. And to Ben's comment on Brown potentially being an all-star soon, if he's not an all-star this year, I'm going to be really mad, to be honest. I think he really deserves it. I really don't think he's been getting the attention he deserves on the court. I should say off the court, he's been doing great things, and he's been getting a lot of attention for that, which is perfect. But on the court, I definitely don't think he's getting enough recognition.
And like you said, I think we had a blind resume challenge not too long ago in these recent episodes. And when you put up Jayson Tatum's stats with Jaylen Brown's, I believe last year, they were nearly identical. So clearly both these guys are moving in the right direction. Another extra question. I'm going to give you a little bonus. Is it maybe because Jayson Tatum, I mean, like people say men are visual creatures, right? Is it because Jayson Tatum just looks so much better offensively? It's so Kobe-esque. Because remember, people were saying, hey, is this the next Kobe? And I was telling people to back up off of it. Is it maybe because everything Tatum does just looks prettier than Brown, that maybe he gets more of that recognition? He's flashier. Do you think maybe that plays into it?
Tatum's definitely got more of a swagger than Brown, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at every year at the draft, we make this list of guys, right? And those lists of guys are with us throughout their entire careers. It's like, oh, this guy at the draft was expected to be so good, or he was going to be insane. And that kind of, I feel like, gives bias a little bit sometimes. So Tatum was always expected to be really, really good. So I think we sometimes just assume, like, oh, he's still that guy, right? Jaylen Brown, some people booed when he got drafted by the Celtics.
He was third pick, right?
Yeah, I remember when that draft happened, I was so upset. I really wanted Dragon Bender in that draft.
Woo!
Imagine
that.
So I'm very thankful I'm not a GM and I leave it to the professionals. But definitely made the right decision. But I think it flows from like the biases you give on draft night. It's like, oh, this guy is supposed to be really good, so he is really good. You know what I mean? Where Jaylen Brown never really got that initial hype, so the hype never really built on him. And he's not gonna be one of those guys that is, showing out and shoving it in your face saying, hey, I'm good, take a look at me. He's more of Kawhi in that way, where he wants to let his actions speak for himself.
Hey, that sounds good, man. That's all I got for the Keyboard Warrior segment today.
Let me just.
Oh, my bad, man. Go ahead.
Real quick.
That's me. My fault.
I feel like you're good. You're good. I cut you off. That's my fault. I just wanted to ask because I realized something while you were just wrapping up. Jordan kind of skirted that question. So I'm going to ask you, clear cut, 5 years from now, who would you rather have if you had to, like, trade one walks away in free agency? You can only have one between the two.
Who is it?
Who would it be?
Pressure's on. Now? Pressure's on.
5 years from now, tomorrow, I mean, they're pretty much the same age, so regardless.
Yeah, I would
just
probably –
going down the line.
I would probably have to say Jayson Tatum. I think he has a higher potential. There are a few things that I think would really improve his game. Same with Jaylen Brown, but – if you ask anyone who they're taking, it's going to be Jayson Tatum. Anyone that says Jaylen Brown is just looking for attention.
Fair enough.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Crown Hoops podcast. Before we go, though, I do need to announce our contest winners for our last episode, episode 50. We did a contest where basically if you tweeted at us or tagged us on an Instagram post, whatever, you'd be entered to win a NBA jersey if you're choosing and something off of our Crown Hoops merch store. We do have two winners. It was a random draw I did off of some website that was like computer generated. I did that before we recorded. Winning the jersey is our very own, and I swear I did not rig this, Matt Huff winning the jersey. So Matt, send me a DM and I will make sure to get that to you. And then winning the Crown Hoops merch, so anything from our store, Tyler Ward off of Twitter. Sent us a screenshot of our podcast. So again, send me a DM and I will make sure to get that out to you. Thank you guys for listening. As always, my name is Jordan Daly. With me this week, we had Mike White, Ben Okazawa, and Craig Smith. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.